Why aren't they addressing issues that we're addressing, like single-payer health care or issues related to a full withdrawal from the war in Iraq? Questions like that.
If you had won in 2003 against Gavin Newsom for mayor of San Francisco, you would have been the first Green mayor, the first Green Party mayor in the country. Yet now you've left the Green Party to run as an independent. Why?
Well, I left the Green Party to enhance ballot access in certain states that don't allow you to be a member of a political party and run as an independent. I think the important thing that would have happened if I'd been elected mayor of San Francisco is that a lot of the red baiting that was taking place in that campaign would have essentially gone to the wayside. I think people would have seen that members of the left can govern when they're given an opportunity to do that.
You talked about the polls in Michigan indicating Ralph Nader has a good percentage there. But what is your strategy to win? How are you campaigning right now?
Well, Ralph is on the road full-time. I'm doing interviews every day, and I'm going to join him as he's reaching California in a couple of weeks and start traveling up to the Northwest. And I think it's the way you campaign in any contest. It's one voter at a time. You talk about the issues, and you challenge your opponents to win your voters away from you if they're concerned about some outcome that shouldn't happen. I think that in a three-candidate race, a four-candidate race, you can win the contest with 35% of the vote. So if you're allowed into the debates and you suddenly have 15, 20%, there are a lot of voters who will suddenly consider you if they truly believe that you're competitive and have a chance to win.
If you were vice president today, what would be your first act in regards to Iraq?
Well, I think we would certainly start an orderly withdrawal of all the troops out of Iraq. I don't think there's any question about that.
The issue of the candidates on the issues. Is there a candidate who you prefer?
Well, I don't want John McCain to win the contest, but I don't want Senator Obama or Senator Clinton to win either. I think what's missing from the debate is the fact that nobody is asking Senators Obama and Clinton to account for some of their terrible votes. When Obama votes for the Class Action Reform Act, which was a Republican bill to really make it harder for people to bring class action lawsuits, or when he supports something like the Energy Policy Act in 2005, which is one of the reasons why oil companies have the profits that they have this year. Why aren't we having that discussion? And before progressives vote for him or vote for Clinton, they ought to have an accounting as to how you can vote for those bills and somehow suddenly change the culture of Washington if you're elected President of the United States.
I wanted to turn to another clip of the debate last night. This is a clip well, Senator Obama was asked how he would use past presidents, how specifically he would use, if he would use, George W. Bush.
I'm probably more likely to ask advice of the current president's father than the president himself, because I think that when you look back at George H.W. Bush's foreign policy, it was a wise foreign policy, and how we executed the Gulf War, how we managed the transition out of the Cold War, I think is an example of how we can get bipartisan agreement. I don't think the Democrats have a monopoly on good ideas. I think that there are a lot of thoughtful Republicans out there. The problem is we've been locked in a divided politics for so long that we've stopped listening to each other.
Your response to Barack?
Well, I think it's unfortunate that he continues to make these remarks. He made similar remarks on Larry King Live about a month ago. I think he's romanticizing George Bush Sr.'s presidency and the way that he acquitted himself in the original Iraq War.
The fact that President Bush, that's George H.W. Bush, invaded Panama, Iraq as well. What about Obama's expressed support for him, turning to him?
I just don't understand it. I don't understand how, on the one hand, you can be suggesting that you're really going to engage in a different kind of foreign policy and sort of wax eloquently and romanticize this sort of presidency and what it could offer you in terms of advice. I think it's troubling.
Is there an area of the country you're going to be focusing on?
I'll probably be more on the West. I've got trips planned to New Mexico and Arizona, and that's where I'll start.
the fact that Barack Obama didn't want to have a photo taken of him with Gavin Newsom, afraid, at least as the reports go, concerned about Gavin Newsom's support for gay marriage.
Well, I think that the way we create change, if we're progressives, is that we have the courage to go out and articulate what we believe in, and certainly taking a picture with an elected official, there's just nothing wrong about that. And to want to distance yourself from that, I think says a lot about the lack of courage you have and the unlikeliness of you being able to change Washington.
Matt Gonzalez, I want to thank you for being with us, independent vice presidential candidate on Ralph Nader's ticket. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. When we come back, we'll be joined by the Stanford University professor Lawrence Lessig. Stay with us.
Thanks.